So in this game, you're going to be playing as a monster. You're going to be destroying buildings, destroying tanks, rolling dice, destroying jets, destroying army units. There's going to be a lot of destroying, all in an attempt to become the king of New York. So I'll show you how to set this game up, then we'll come back up here and I'll show you how to play. So to start the game, each player is going to choose the monster they'd like to play as. They're going to take their victory point tracker and health tracker card, and they're going to set the health points to 10. So it can go to 12, but some cards will let you do that later on. So for now, we'll just set it to 10. And you're going to make sure the victory points are set to 0. So it'll be either like here or there. There's going to be a little wheel, and you'll set it to 0. Then you want to make sure you separate the special tokens. So these will come into play later on by use of some of the cards. Then there are 2 types of dice. There are the regular black dice that you'll be playing with, and then there's 2 green dice. Now with the 2 green dice, there's a card that'll let you use those extra green dice later on. You also want to make sure the Superstar card and the Statue of Liberty card are separate. So we'll just place them here on the side of the board in reach of all players. Then you want to make sure you shuffle the deck, take the top 3 cards and place them face up next to the board in reach of all players, so that way each player is able to read and see it. Then you will also place the energy cubes next to the board. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to place 3 stacks of 3 buildings each in each of the 5 boroughs. So there's Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, and Manhattan, separated by 3 different levels. So you're going to just take 3 stacks of 3 buildings and place 3 in each borough. Let me go ahead and explain the building tiles a little bit more in depth. So right here, this number is the integrity of the building. So that's going to be the number of destruction dice that you're going to need to roll to destroy that building. So here we have 3. And then the number on the left, or the symbol on the left, is what you'll get for destroying that building. So if you destroy this building, you'll get 3 health. And if you destroy this building, you get 3 energy. And let me explain the building tiles a little bit more. So when you destroy a building tile, you're going to flip it over to the other side, and it'll either have a unit, a jet, or a tank on it. An easy way to remember this is any building with a 1 on it will always have a unit on the other side. Any building with a 2 on it is always going to have a jet on the other side. And any building with a 3 on it will always have a tank on the other side. So once you destroy that building, you're going to flip it over, and now it becomes a unit, a jet, or a tank. And then you can further destroy those later on with the destruction dice results. All right, let's take this back up top and I'll show you how to play. So to start the game, every player is going to roll the 6 black dice. And the person with the most claws is going to go first. So they'll choose a borough to put their monster in. So we'll do that. And then the other players will follow. So we'll do this. So you can choose any borough to put your monster in except Manhattan. Manhattan will come into play later. And then you can also have up to 2 monsters in any borough, but not more than 2. So on your turn, you're going to pick up the 6 black dice and you roll them. And you can roll them up to 3 times. And after any of those times, you can lock however many dice you want. So let's just say I locked this one and this one. And then I'll roll again. And then I'll go ahead and lock this one. Now, after any of those rolls, if you decide that you don't want to keep those locked dice, you can always add them back in to another roll. So let's just say I didn't like those and I want to re-roll them all. This will be my last roll though, so whatever I get, I have to resolve. So I roll that. And then I would separate the different types and resolve them. Now you can resolve the dice in any order, but whatever order you choose, you must resolve all of one type first and then move on to the next type and resolve it. Let me go ahead and explain the different dice and the dice outcomes. So of course we have the claw or the attack dice. So this is the amount of attack that you'll do or damage. So when you roll this, if you roll 1, you do 1 damage, 2 is 2 damage, but you only attack, there's a certain way to attack. So whoever's in Manhattan will attack whoever's outside of Manhattan, and whoever's outside of Manhattan will attack whoever's inside Manhattan. So say I was in Manhattan and I rolled 2 claws. I would give 2 damage to anyone outside of Manhattan. Now if somebody was outside Manhattan and they rolled 2 claws, they would give 2 damage to whoever is in Manhattan. So the other die result is the heart. So the heart is what you'll be healing with. So if you roll 1 heart, you can heal 1. If you roll 2, you can heal 2. But you cannot go past 10. So if you heal and it's going to take you past 10, you can't go past 10. There are, again, certain cards that will allow you to go past 10, but without them, you cannot go past 10. Also, another thing, if you're in Manhattan, you cannot use the hearts to heal. You can still use cards to heal, and the hearts will still trigger effects on cards. Some of the cards will require you to roll hearts for certain effects, but you cannot use the hearts while you're in Manhattan to heal. The next die result we have is energy. So energy is what you're going to be using to buy cards. So if you look right here in the top left corner, this card costs 5 energy. So the way energy works is whatever you roll, of course, that's what you're going to get. So you roll 1 lightning bolt, you'll get 1 energy. 2 lightning bolts is 2 energy. And then so when you roll the energy, you would take this from the pool. This is what the energy looks like. You would take it from the pool and you would put it in front of you. Now you can save up energy until you have enough to buy the card you want, or you can also wipe these out for 2 energy. So there's cost of the cards, and then plus you can also discard all the cards right here and then replace them with 3 new ones. So we could do this, this, and that. And then these would be in a discard pile right over there. The next die result we have is destruction. So when you roll these, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I said that the buildings have integrity. So when you roll the destruction dice, that is the amount of integrity that you can destroy. So if you roll 1, you can destroy a building with 1 integrity. 2 is 2 integrity, 3 is 3 integrity. And then of course, when you destroy the building, you flip it over to its unit side, its tank, or its jet. And then you can further destroy it later on, or in the same turn if you have enough destruction dice. Another thing about destruction is you can only destroy buildings within your borough. You can't destroy a building in another borough on the other side of the map, just in your borough or around you only. So like he can destroy any of these 3 stacks of buildings. The next die result we have is going to be the stars. So the stars, they do nothing if you roll 1. They do nothing if you roll 2. But if you roll 3, you become a celebrity superstar. So what that means is you take the superstar card right here. And what it does is, so you take this card, and when you roll at least 3 stars, you gain 1 victory point, plus 1 victory point per additional star you rolled. So for 3, you would gain 1 victory point and take this card, the superstar card, and then for every other star thereafter, you get an extra victory point. So the 3 would be 1, and then 2, and then 3. So for 5 stars, you would get 3 victory points. And then you would keep this card, and while you have this card, you gain 1 victory point for each star you roll. So regularly, stars don't do anything unless you have the superstar card. So when you have the superstar card, any stars you roll, just add to your victory points. And now if somebody else were to roll 3 stars, they would steal the card from you, and then they would become, of course, the superstar. Then we have the ouch die result, or the skull. So the ouch die result is exactly what it says. It's ouch. So when you roll 1 ouch, any units in your borough will attack you. So the amount of damage you take depends on the number of units showing. So a unit is a jet, an army unit, or the jeep, and then an army tank. So if you have 3, even though you roll 1, you'll still take 3 damage. If you have just 1 in your burrow, you'll just take the 1 damage. If you roll 2 ouch or skulls, any other monster in there with you will also take damage. So for the 3 units that show, you would each take 3 damage. They would attack you both in the same burrow. And then if you were to roll 3 ouch, units in all burrows attack. So if we had units here and units over here, and then units in here, all the units would attack. So each monster would take 1 damage per unit showing. So we have 2 here, so that monster would take 2 damage. We have 2 over here, so this monster would take 2 damage. And we have 3 here, this monster would take 3 damage. Nobody's here and nobody's here, so those units, I mean, they still attack, but they don't do anything to any monster. The other thing is, when you roll 3 ouch, the Statue of Liberty comes to life and becomes your sidekick. So what this card does, take this card, it's the Statue of Liberty card, take this card when you roll at least 3 ouch, gain 3 victory points when you take this card, and you lose 3 when you lose this card. So you would take this card when you roll 3 ouch, you would gain 3 victory points, but if somebody else were to roll 3 ouch, they would take that card from you and they would gain 3 victory points and you would lose 3 victory points. After rolling the dice and resolving them, movement will occur. When movement occurs is if nobody's in Manhattan, you'll have to move into Manhattan, into the lower 2 to 4 zone. So there's lower, midtown, and upper. You'll move into the lower 2 to 4 zone. If somebody's already in Manhattan, you can move to another borough, as long as there aren't 2 monsters in it already. If you're already in Manhattan, you move up a zone. You'll continue to move up a zone until you get into the upper zone. So you'll start off at lower, and then on the next turn, you'll go to midtown, and then on another turn, you'll go to the upper, as long as you continue to stay in Manhattan. The only way to leave Manhattan is if somebody were to damage you. So if they were to roll, and they got the claw, and they did damage to you, you would switch spots. So you're out of Manhattan now. You still take the damage, but at least you're out and you can heal yourself later on. Besides the effects I've already mentioned of Manhattan, such as the monsters outside of Manhattan attack the monsters inside Manhattan, the monster inside Manhattan attacks the monsters outside of Manhattan, there are other perks to being in Manhattan. So for one, when you first move in, you get 1 victory point. So if you move in, you'll gain a victory point. Now, if you start your turn in the lower Manhattan, you get 1 victory point and 1 energy. If you start your turn in the middle of Manhattan, you get 2 victory points and 2 energy. And if you start your turn at the upper level of Manhattan, you get 2 victory points and 2 energy. So let me explain some of the cards to you and how to use them. So this card costs 4 energy. It is a keep card. And it says, when you deal damage to monsters, give each a curse token. Each time a monster wants to reroll the ouch, he must spend 1 energy for each curse token he has. And a monster may use a heart to discard a curse token instead of using it to heal. So this is the curse token. Then we have the web spinner card. This costs 6 energy and is a keep card. What that means is you get to keep it in front of you pretty much the remainder of the game. When you deal damage to monsters, give them a web token. A monster has 1 fewer reroll on his turn for each web token he has. A monster can choose to use a claw to discard a web token instead of using it to attack. And here's the web token. Here's another keep card. It costs 6 energy. Place a souvenir token in your current borough, and each borough you enter that doesn't already have a souvenir token. Gain 1 victory point and 1 energy each time you place a souvenir token. So this right here is the souvenir token. Then we have the carapace. So it costs 3 energy. It's also another keep card. Your maximum health is increased by 2 as long as you have this card. For each ouch you roll, place a carapace token on this card. You can discard this card to heal 1 damage for each carapace token on it. And this is the carapace token. If you remember earlier, I talked about the green dice and how there's extra cards that let you use them. So this costs 7 energy, and it's a keep card. You get to roll 1 extra die. This one is kind of one of the worst cards. So it's 2 energy, gain 4 energy, and heal 4 damage when you buy this card. You roll an extra die. If you end your turn with at least 1 star, you lose this card and all your health. So it kind of destroys the monster instantly if things don't go your way. Besides keep cards, there's also discard cards. So this one costs 5 energy. You will discard this to use it. You can only buy this card if you destroyed a tank this turn. Plus 3 victory stars, and all monsters take 1 damage. So let me explain the rules for 5 to 6 players. When a card says it attacks monsters in Manhattan, it attacks them all. If there's only one player in Manhattan on your turn, you must move in there. If they're already on the 2 to 4 space, you have to move in on the 5 to 6 space, and that is your track essentially. So they would be moving on the 2 to 4 track, and you'd be moving on the 5 to 6 track. At the end of your turn, you'll take the black dice and pass them to the player on your left. If you have 20 victory points or you're the last monster standing, you win the game.
If you enjoyed watching this video and you want to learn how to play more board games, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. I'll be posting more videos every week. Thanks for watching The Other Board Gamer.